So this was my first time doing a solo passage, 7 days in nature. I had done a few shorter passages with a guide and had been very transformative, but nothing like what I experienced this last 7 days on my own. An extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary experience. Most of it is beyond words, but what I can say is the opportunity to be in nature alone with the focus of deeply relaxing and becoming present with each moment and connecting with nature and the energy that's available that so many of us, myself included, don't take the time to connect with and experience in our busy lives in the city and in offices. Was invaluable and extraordinary, and I would just encourage anyone who feels at all called to explore this work to find a way to do either a 7-day passage or even a shorter passage. Any opportunity that you can take to experience and carve out some time for yourself in nature with the teachings of John, I know would be beneficial. John Milton is an extraordinary teacher and brilliant in his ability to bring together and synthesize and integrate phenomenal teachings from so many lineages and offer them in a very accessible and usable way, a wealth of knowledge, and I feel deeply blessed and honored to have been able to study with him and have this time before the passage and after the passage to receive teachings and trainings that I used while I was out there for those 7 days, and that I'll be taking home into my life and implementing and integrating into my way of being in the world, which feels already very, very different. A deep sense of relaxation and presence, which despite all the books and the workshops and the trainings and the teachings and all that I've learned and known for many, many decades, this experience helped to embody that in a way that is remarkable. And yeah, I'm just so grateful to John and to the Way of Nature and to this organization and this foundation and what's being offered and gifted to the world. So some of the experiences that I had, some of the highlights of my time out there included a lot of visiting beings and creatures from nature. Many birds would come at different times while I would be in meditation or practicing some of the teachings that John had shared. They would come and stay with me and be there, and I really felt their presence and their connection with what I was doing.
Okay, so my name is Simone and I'm from Germany actually. And I just had a wonderful experience here. The key thing for me was to really be on my own, out there in nature. Coming to Mexico was not like primarily driving me, and I probably would not have selected this beautiful place like on my own, but I'm very grateful that I found my way into Baja, and like the experience that I had here was just beyond anything I could have imagined beforehand, really. So the first thing I experienced when I came here was a wonderful group of people who all share the same idea or desire of getting closer to themselves. And then that in itself was already very, very powerful. And then this beautiful area, this really sacred place. Wow. And then being out there in a very, very beautiful and even more sacred place was just breathtaking and again beyond anything I could have thought of. So it was very peaceful and restful. I was able to relax a lot out in the nature, and I had beautiful stones, like huge rocks that were hosting me there, and a lot of animals and plants and beings that would share their space with me and would allow me to be their guest, really, for a little while. So I was actually, my space was on a cliff, up on a cliff, directly at the sea, and I was facing the west direction from that spot into the sea, so the sun would go down directly above this sea, and it was actually high enough to really see that the horizon wouldn't be or was no straight line, but that it bends, so you could see like the edge of the world, really. It was beautiful. And there were many beautiful birds flying there, like the biggest ones, I think it's vultures. Like I had 12 of them dancing like in front of me, like with a huge circle, and we would fly like all over the place, but at some point they were really, flying around me, and it was like I would be sitting in the kind of not directly the middle of it, but I was part of that dance, and it was very, very powerful and really great experience. And there was I don't know, probably 20 or more of these frigate birds. I wasn't able to count them. They were all filling the sky, and at the same time, so it was great. So huge thanks for having the opportunity to make this experience.
It's a great experience down here in Baja. This is a wonderful place to come for spiritual renewal and relaxation, with the big spacious sky and the expansive ocean, and then coming together, and the whales breaching, and sea lions and incredible frigate birds just soaring so effortlessly in the sky, and pelicans being able to come within inches of the water, so smoothly sailing over the waves. It's encourages a human being to slow down from the city pace. I live in Washington, D.C. It's a beautiful city, but very congested and busy. So taking these opportunities to leave that urban environment and remember what it's like to be a natural human being in a bit of a wild place is very refreshing for me. And then on top of that, to be with such beautiful companions from all around the world, sharing this experience was a real treat. And the teachings of John Milton to support us in preparation for heading out for a week of camping by yourself on the beach. You're never really by yourself, but surrounded by all of the creatures. And my heart just feels happy. I have a lot of leaving with refreshed and renewed, which is what I'd hoped for when I came. Just wanted to share that with others, that if you had it in your heart to take some time out from your busy life and wanted to reconnect more deeply with nature in a quiet setting, at least quiet of human sounds, but very full and rich in the sounds of nature, especially the sea roaring in such a beautiful way. I'd highly recommend coming to the Baja.
I am Alexandre Rodrigues from São Paulo, Brazil. I'm here to talk a little bit about my experience on a sacred passage here in Baja. The first thing I could really say, it was an amazing experience. I know, as I have never camped before, I know it would be hard, but actually it was an amazing experience. All the teachings from John before the solo period, you could really try to apply when you are by yourself. And I think this is a very unique time. It's very rare that you can just stay by yourself without any distractions when you are in your daily life. I didn't really know what to expect when I went to the solo period, and I'm not sure if I believed before that some real connection could really happen with nature, and after now that I have gone through this experience, I can say it really happens. If you allow it to happen, it will happen. Nature will allow this kind of connection. I have some interesting experiences that I would like to share. Is connection with a crab. People here, when I talked about that, everybody laughed, but it's kind of funny, but it's very interesting because some morning that I was on the beach after some days of being watching the crabs, I actually start to talk to one of them that was very close to me, and it was interesting because I kind of talk about my life, all my fears for almost half an hour, and he just listened, and it was interesting because I could never imagine myself talking to a crab, but it happens, and it happens in a natural way. For some reason, I guess all this talk helped me to release my contractions or my fears. I guess all this process that I went through, I needed to let it go, and it happened on this moment. So it was a very, very, very powerful experience.
So the morning before we depart, and what to say about this experience. I was thinking about it, and putting the same clothes on that I arrived in, and just how different of a person that I feel. In a way, everything has changed, and in a way, nothing has changed. Either the same clothes, it's essentially the same body, and go back to much the same life that I have. Yet there's something very much to the core that has been transformed this week. I came here, one of the big things was finding and experiencing connection with myself and with nature and with unknown, and had a lot of questions, ranging from the small questions to the big ones. And what I found is I didn't know actually what I was looking for necessarily in the connection with myself and with nature and this sort of larger L life. But that's very much a part of what my experience has given me, being out on the beach and on the hill and on the rocks for a week. A really deep sense of gratitude and appreciation. I don't know if it came through or allowed me to be very relaxed and present. So that experience is one that I feel like has transformed from the inside out, so that when I do go back and all the things that are the same about me, my mind, how busy it can get, and my life, that the way that I am, my way of being, will be different than before. The lessons that I learned from the environment, the sky, the ocean, the stones that I sat on and climbed, and the birds probably were one of the biggest lessons for me around effort and ease and flow. You know, I think I've approached many things in my life where my view has been about, if it's not hard, if I'm not struggling, and if it feels easy, that it's not of value or that I'm not doing anything. And watching those birds on my back for hours and just really seeing how, you know, they lift their arms, their wings, and they only exert the right amount of effort, just enough, and then they just be. And that's a big part of what I got this week. That I could just be, effort when needed. And that feeling of spaciousness, of ease, of relaxed, present. I'm a different person in the same clothes and in the same life. I think that's it.